Hi guys, today we're going to be doing chicken stir fry. Let's have a look at the recipe. Hi guys, chicken stir fry. 500 grams chicken breast, tablespoon of oil, 2 cloves of garlic, spring onions, soy sauce, cabbage, ginger, instant noodles and frozen veggies. So the first thing you're going to do when you get to your station is actually to do your prep. On the recipe it says cut the chicken breast into strips. I think you should get your veggies ready. Okay, so let's have a look. For this recipe we're probably only going to need 2 spring onions. Now, spring onion, a lot of it you don't eat. These stalks over here are pretty tough and fibrous. You only really get to the part that you're going to eat when you can start to feel the solid part of the onion. But down here by the stem. And of course you don't want to eat the root. So take off just until it gets a little bit of colour. So it's going just coming out of white to green. So that's about, out of all that I was holding before, that's as much as you're going to use. So that's as much as we're going to need. Be careful because they can be a little bit slippery. You don't want to chop them up too finely. Right, so there's the spring onions. Cabbage. Now, obviously with the cabbage, there's a red cabbage, you guys might be using green, but all of the stem along here is not going to be good for a stir fry. Some cooking can use this stem for a slow cook, but we're not doing that today. So you want to take all of that hard stem out. And out a leaf or two until you get to some tasty areas inside. Again, it's one of those vegetables that does have a significant amount of waste, really. So we're going to chop lengthways across it. To get long stems, like this. Okay, that's what you want for stir fry. That's looking good. 2 cloves of garlic. Just remember you take off the 2 tips. Still got its outer casing on. Then you're going to crush it sideways. And the husk will just easily come off. Now, we're going to put the garlic in a separate container, not in with the rest of the spring onions and cabbage, because garlic can burn quite easily, so we're going to put it in a little bit later in the stir fry. So you have to be aware of the order that you're cooking in. And we're going to dice that up quite finely. It's not nice to have a large clove of garlic in your mouth. Ginger, we're going to finely chop that. Ginger's quite a strong vegetable taste. It's a root vegetable, so can be a bit strong. I'm just going to take a little part off here, and that'll probably be enough for the whole recipe. Just that much. Personally, for me, I don't want it too much. Now, we can't grate it like this because we'll get all the outer skin. So we're going to take off all of the skin, just carefully cutting it sideways. Try to always cut down, it's a little bit dangerous going sideways. Until you are left basically just with a shape that kind of looks a little bit like a small kumara, because it won't have any of the outer skin on it. So we can fine chop that. It's a little bit harder to chop because of all the sinewy sort of parts of it, so it seems to stick together a lot. But if you keep chopping at it, you will get it fast. Right, I'm going to put that in the same dish as the garlic, because we can put it in at the same time as the garlic. Right, soybeans. I'm going to use soybeans and peas. How much? Half a bag. So I'm going to put a little bit less than that.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So I'm going to say 1 cup. 1 cup of frozen veggies. So half soybean. And half pea. Alright, so a cup of frozen vegetables, about 1/8 of a cabbage, 2 sprigs of spring onion, and in a separate container your garlic and ginger. We're going to go all in at different times. So, cut the chicken breast into strips, and we're going to put the oil in the frying pan. Frying pan, and these. See if we can all use this, but this is sesame oil, useful for Asian meals. It's a little bit different tasting than olive oil. Careful on your heat. So while you're cooking the chicken, you're just going to make sure that you don't burn it, obviously, so you're keeping it moving at the bottom of the pan. You can add some more olive oil if it's looking a little bit dry. When it's cooked, or when you think it's cooked, you're going to chop into the largest portion of the chicken just to make sure it's not pink inside, because that means it isn't cooked and you'll get sick. Alright, next up, you're just going to need a saucepan and put your noodles in. Your noodles can just be left in boiling water. When your chicken is cooked, you're going to add the cabbages and the onion. You can add a little bit of more oil there at the same time. It's also the time to add your soy sauce. I'm just going to make sure it keeps moving. As you're cooking, the cabbage will start to wilt a little bit and get a little bit less crunchy as it's absorbing the oil, just getting heated and losing some of that crispness. And when it does, when it starts to be a little bit less crispy, suggest that you add your garlic and ginger now. Again, you can add a little tiny amount more oil as you go. Shouldn't really need it. Okay, just stir in the noodles. They haven't come to the boil yet. Now the frozen veggies, I'm going to take long to cook. What we want them to go is just go from being frozen to being edible. I can put it in any time really, but do it in that order. Make sure it doesn't burn, keep it moving. If you want to speed up the process and you want to make sure that they are served at the same time, you can speed the noodles up to boiling just by putting a lid on them, or turning the temperature of the stir fry down. So this way, by adding the frozen vegetables last, they're not going to be really cooked. Because they went in frozen, they're really just being warmed up by the process, whereas the cabbage is changing quite a lot because we put that in first, and the spring onions obviously making a big difference to the smell, and the ginger and garlic isn't getting burnt. Okay, the noodles are boiling now, so you just have to wait 2 minutes.